As plant parents, we buy these beautiful indoor plants. And of course, the worry is, how do we keep them looking as gorgeous and healthy as the day we bought them? And one big mistake that a lot of us make is that we forget that they need nutrition. Now, nutrition comes in many different forms, and when you walk into your local garden center, you could get very confused as to what to feed, how often. But all I want you to remember is that you've got to feed, because coming from the growing area where they looked after like real little babies, they're getting nutrition all the time. All of a sudden we take them, pop them into our homes, and kind of hope that they will just carry on. Well, that's where it goes wrong. So besides the watering, which we've spoken about many times, once every 7 to 10 days, it is important that we give a constant supply of nutrition, because if we don't, it's kind of like us going on one of those diets where you got to eat watermelon or something. It's certainly not giving you everything. And that is what is important, that consistent supply. So let's get into 3 ways that you can do this very effectively at home without much of a hack. And you can also use these 3 ways. It's not to say that only one way will work. So the one is a liquid feed. Liquid feed, in other words, you take the product, dilute it into water, whatever it says on the bottle, and how often it says on the bottle. Dilute that into water and then simply feed your plant. The other way is plant sticks, food sticks. Such a hack, really cool, and it works like a gem. We actually do both of those at the same time with our plants. And the third way is a dry feed, which I'd recommend that you do once a month. Folks, this is one of the easiest ways to do it, and we do it in a box Tupperware thing like this, because it just saves a whole lot of time. Now, you can either do this in the bath, true story, or you can do it in a container like this. And the easiest way to do it is simply to take whatever your container is, whatever the bottle says, how many liters. So this particular product is 5 mils, which is a cap, into 5 liters of water. So we kind of guesstimate that part a little bit. Fill it up. Alrighty. And the way that this works is that we save a whole lot of time, as well as a whole lot of wasting of our nutrition. So it really is just this. And remember, with a lot of these plant foods, guys, give it a really good shake, because they're normally full of some organic, good nutrition, which kind of gets stuck at the bottom. So in it goes, and just give it a good swirl. And then take your plant, and when it's watering day, pop it in. Now, 2 ways, depending on your time limits. You can either leave it like this. So you could pop even quite a few in here. Leave it like this for at least half an hour. Or if you're in a bit of a hurry, literally just take it with your hands and just pop some around it, nice and gently. There we go. So it's getting all that water into it. And what's important with feeding and watering that I find is that if you just do a quick watering with a watering can, it never really soaks into the core, the center of the plant. I've seen that on numerous occasions where you hold it up, give it a water, the water pours through, you think I'm good to go. But very often, right in the core of the plant, it hasn't actually got any water, which is why I really prefer doing it this way. And then you'll see when I lift it up. And one way to tell if it's really soaked through is that you will see the weight of the plant has changed. It was very light bringing it in. It's now heavy, which means that it really has soaked through. And you can see, I mean, if I pop some in there, put a bit of extra water, there we go. That's what we want. Take it out, leave it to drip dry a bit, and then put it back in its spot. Now you can reuse this for any number of other indoor plants. So each one gets its turn, a little bit of a dunk, and we've fed and watered all at the same time. The next way is dry feeding, and there are many different products that you can use as long as it is in a powder form. Just make sure that that is one of the methods of application that you can use. So the trick about dry feeding, folks, is to make sure that the plant is very soaked before. So what does that do? Well, number one, it stops potential burning. Number two, it makes sure that when you water it after the feeding, that the nutrition is really going to get through into the feeding zone. So what it is, and I would strongly recommend that you put it somewhere where it doesn't matter if the water kind of goes all over. But what it is just a good soaking of the soil. And this beautiful Raven ZZ, man, it's a gorgeous plant. One of those indoor plants that actually really doesn't need that much water. So you would give it a feeding once a month is more than enough. So there we go, soaked all around, good soaking. Okay, and now it really is very simple, guys, is take a bit of the dry product and just sprinkle it around. So you're just sprinkling it onto the soil surface so that you're getting into all those spots. Once you've sprinkled it on, then exactly the same procedure. Give it a good watering. And now you'll see, because it is this powder, it literally just disappears and it's getting right into the root zone. Very good, and you often find with the granular or powdered forms that it's got an exceptionally high nitrogen, which is great obviously for green growth. And you're also getting some micronutrients in. So our regime normally is a combination of all three, and the third one I'm still about to show you. But what we make sure then is kind of we're covering all bases. We've got different feeding, which means that the plants will be able to take up the nutrition as and when they need, but never be lacking. Okay guys, this is seriously the hack of all hacks. And if you're busy, if you maybe don't have time, these things work like a charm. They're called Nutri-Sticks, feeding sticks. You get like 25 in a packet. We have these as a go-to. They live under the kitchen sink. They're all over around where the indoor plants are. And depending on the size of the pot, all the instructions are on the back, so don't get too stressed about it. But the bottom line is that it's a 12-3-7, so it's a really good high nitrogen, which is going to give your plants a slow release, sustainable supply of plant food. These little sticks just disintegrate, and as you're watering your normal regime, so the nutrition then just gets removed nice and slowly. And all you do is you just go to the plant and just pop it into the soil, and that's it. As easy as that. Well folks, that is feeding 3 ways. Nice and easy. How do you remember to do it? Put it on your cell phone. Write it on your calendar if you still have one of those. But there are easy ways that we can all manage and fit into our busy lives. But the most important thing is choose one and just do it.